If you are over on Facebook and you don't see the little live button up there in the corner, it means you're watching the replay. Please put hashtag replay in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to know that. So I have Victoria here with me, and she is going to read your comments, so y'all talk to me. Tell me how you're doing today. Tell us where you're from. Ask any questions you might have about the flower shop. We'd love to answer any questions that you might have. Today I am working on some event flowers. We actually have 3 of these arrangements that we need to put together. We're only going to do one on the live, but this is an urn. It's actually what we would call a disposable urn. It's just a plastic urn that we ordered from our floral wholesaler, and I love that it's a kind of gray, almost a stone color. It just, to me, elevates it just a little bit from a plastic urn to a little bit something nicer. We have added fresh floral foam down into our container. We taped it into place, and then we added water to the reservoir. So it has plenty of water. When using floral foam, you always want to make sure that you soak that foam first, because that's so important. Next, we took some Robolini foliage, which is the palm branches you see here, and then the feathery greenery you see is called agonis, and agonis is it has a little bit of a maroon tint to it, which I really like. Just a really pretty feathery type foliage that we like to use in the fall. I am going to add a little bit more leather leaf to this arrangement, and then we're going to pop in some maroon and white flowers.
Chris Vry says, so blessed today / this weekend, homecoming, a few everyday arrangements, and a decent sized wedding.
Oh, that is wonderful, Chris. I am so glad to hear that. Congratulations, my friend.
You have lots of hellos.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello.
The Magnolia Tree on TikTok says, hello, how are you? I am so grateful for today. We have been busy, and I'm so thankful. Have you been busy?
We have been pretty steady today. We've been pretty steady. We actually got this order in yesterday. So Jason had to ride over to the wholesaler and pick up some white blooms because we had ordered all autumn. That's why I always say have white flowers in your cooler, because if you don't use white, you can always tint them. But it worked out fine. Jason ran over to the wholesaler and picked up a few white blooms for us to be able to put throughout these arrangements. So we were just thankful for the order. All right, so there's a little leather I added throughout.
Miss Margaret Lynch says, good night. She says, happy Thursday. I loved your devotion this morning.
Thank you, Miss Margaret. I'm so glad you're here with us. Okay, next we're going to come in with some line flower. I've got snapdragons and some of the most beautiful snapdragons. I want to say I am almost positive these are California snapdragons. They're just taller and showier and fuller. Look at these snapdragons. So pretty. These did come from our wholesaler. So I am going to take and strip off those leaves, and I am going to cut that stem at an angle, and I'm going to press that right into the top of our arrangement. Just like that. I'm going to take a second one, and we are just going to kind of stair step down and go all the way around in this container.
Miss Linda Sue on YouTube says, good afternoon from Central Arkansas.
Hello, Miss Linda Sue. So glad you're here. I'm stripping off any of those leaves that are on that stem.
Miss Linda Juster says, what is this for? I missed that part.
So this is for an event at the college. They ordered 3 of these arrangements. And so I am not exactly sure if they're having, I don't know. I just said, yes, ma'am, we can make them. We will be happy to make those arrangements for you.
Miss Karen King says, good afternoon from Washington State.
Hello, friend. So glad you're here. All right, there's our snapdragons. Now, snapdragons have kind of a wimpy stem, so you have to be a little careful with them. Their stems are not real sturdy, so you have to be a little careful because they'll break. So there's our snapdragons. Next we're going to come in with some hydrangeas. I have 3 white hydrangeas. These are just standard hydrangeas. I'm going to take them. I always leave these plastic bags on just because it kind of protects that bloom in that cooler. I'm going to take my floral knife, cut that stem at an angle, and I'm dipping it into some Quick Dip. Quick Dip is a hydrating solution that helps to keep those hydrangeas hydrated. So I'm going to tuck that in.
Miss Linda Juster says she loves your blouse.
Thank you, friend. Thank you. It's a little warm for Mississippi today. I'm trying so hard to dress in season, and it's tough in Mississippi to dress in some of these cute autumn clothes. All right. I'm pulling off some of these leaves because if you'll pull off those leaves, it helps to cause that water to go directly to the head instead of hitting those leaves first. So if you'll pop those leaves off, the water goes directly to the head. All right, there's our white hydrangeas all the way around. I used 3 of those stems. Next we will come in with some carnations. So I have some white standard carnations.
Miss Mildred Harrell says she just painted crepe myrtle berries for a fall arrangement. She says, try some. Love y'all bunches.
I need to try that. I am so glad you said that. Never even thought about that. So I'm taking these carnations and I'm just fluffing those up. And I'm going to show you really quickly how I do that. Now, carnations are the only flower you can do this to, okay? So keep that in mind. Don't fluff lilies and don't fluff roses, only a carnation. So I'm taking my hand and I'm going to make an okay sign. I'm going to set that carnation right between those fingers, and I'm just going to very softly brush those petals and just open that bloom right up. But only do that to a carnation, nothing else, okay? Tucking those carnations all the way through. I think I have 9 stems of carnations for this arrangement.
Me on TikTok says I take a potato peeler and use it on one side of the hydrangeas to keep them hydrated.
Interesting. I will have to try that. I've never done that before.
Simon McElroy on YouTube says, hi ladies, great to catch you live from Ireland.
Hello friend, so glad you're here.
Miss Ann Barber on Facebook says, hello sweet lady, so glad to see you.
Hello Miss Ann, so glad you're here.
Miss Linda Juster says, we finally got some sun here this evening. Flooding rain for 2 days here in Williamsburg, Virginia.
And we need rain so badly. So I'm pulling off a few of those leaves on those carnations. So we're just going all the way around. Sticking out just a little bit. Gonna trim that stem and poke it back in.
Oh, Miss Margaret, do you know if we've gotten anything in the mail from Miss Margaret?
Not recently, Miss Margaret. I don't think so.
We have not yet, Miss Margaret. She said that there should be 3 cards in one. She said one for Monty, one for Monty's dad, and one for me and Owen.
Aw, thank you, Miss Margaret. I'll keep an eye out. I did check the mail today, and it hasn't, and nothing came today. Okay, there's those pretty carnations. Now look at how full that arrangement already is. I think it's already very lovely. Next we will come in with some roses, and I'm going to wire these roses. Now if you look at them, they have a slight tinge of pink, but I didn't think that was going to be a game changer. I'm going to take some wire, so I've got some florist wire. This is 21 gauge wire. which is the gauge that I like the best, I'm going to take and I am going to pop off some of these petals. Now, if you ever worked with white roses tend to show all the bumps and all the bruises. That's why I've never been a huge fan of white roses, just because they show every bump and bruise. I'm taking this wire and I am wiring each of these stems. I'm pulling off those petals.
Period on TikTok asks, do you decorate wreaths too?
We do decorate wreaths, actually. Yesterday I decorated a wreath, and the day before did I on live video. If you would like to see us decorating some wreaths, you can check us out over on Facebook. We actually did 2 lives making pretty fall wreaths this week.
Kara and Mama Bear says, thank you, amazing performance on TikTok.
So glad you're here, friend.
Teresa says, greetings from South Bend, Indiana.
Hello, Teresa. How are you today? So I'm just taking and popping off any of these petals.
Pretty Petals Floral Design on TikTok says, aloha, Pretty Petals is watching from Waikiki.
Hello, friend. Hello, hello.
Miss Barbara Neal asks, what is the greenery again? I say that a lot on funeral arrangements. It's very pretty.
So the palm is called Robellini. Robellini has smaller, more pointed fronds than jade. And I really like Robellini a lot. And then the other greenery in this, which we're going to add a little more, is called Agonis. Agonis is kind of a feathery, it almost reminds you a little bit of weeping willow. It has those little pointed leaves. But Agonis tends to have, it depends on how far in the season it is, but it tends to have a little bit of a maroon tinge to it, which really works great in the autumn. And so I like to use it for the fall and for football season, because our football team is maroon and white, so it works really good. It's not quite as maroon as I would prefer, but it still has a little bit of that maroon color. So I've wired all my roses. I'm going to take those and I'm going to cut those at an angle, and we're going to tuck those all the way around in our design. I have 6 roses.
John Miller says, happy Thursday. I hear Mr. Todd.
You hear him tiptoeing around here. He's about ready to go, and Jason hasn't left yet, and he's like, come on, Dad, it's time to go home.
Miss Cheryl on YouTube says, good morning from Australia.
Hello, Cheryl. Welcome, welcome.
Teresa says she's doing good. She says, I own Patricia and Florist.
All right, we will have to check you out.
Alejandro says, got some roses delivered Tuesday for an event on Saturday. How can I keep them from going bad?
Do you have a cooler? Do you have a cool space that you could put those in? If you do, I would just give them a fresh cut, drop them right down in fresh water. If you have flour food, you can add that to the water in your bucket. If you do not have flour food, you can add a touch of bleach to that water and a little bit of Sprite. Sprite is just sugar, and they really like sugar. That is what feeds those flowers. If you do not have a cooler, if you would just ice those buckets down daily, that's going to help keep them cooler. And try to even bump down the air conditioner. It'll cool it off in your space, and they'll be happier flowers. Okay, so our roses are in. We've got hydrangeas, snapdragons, white roses, and white carnations so far. Next, we're going to come in with some chrysanthemums. So I have some button daisies. We didn't have many, and I have 3 of these designs, so I have 3 stems per design because that's what we had in our cooler. So often we will buy our mums or a daisies or what have you. We will buy those in a mixed box. And so I got an autumn box this week that had all of the pretty fall colors. So it worked out good to get a little bit of maroon. I'm taking and I'm stripping off some of those leaves.
Alejandro says thank you.
Of course.
He says he's just in his house and says thank you for
Yeah, just cool it off. Just make sure that it's really cool in your house. You know, at Valentine's Day or larger holidays, we don't have enough space to be able to put our flowers in a really cool space. So we will pull the air conditioner down really low and get it really cool in there. And that helps to keep those flowers fresher longer. The last flower we're going to use are these cremones, and they are in that beautiful burgundy tone.
Teresa says we are still a bit slow. Have you picked up in orders?
A little bit. We actually did Fresh Flower Friday this week, and we promoted that. So we are working on that for the next. We're going to try to do it for quite a while and see how that goes. And we've gotten several orders, so we're really excited about that. And we've got those in flowers in paper, so we're going to wrap some of those bouquets in paper, and then we also have them, we're also offering those in vase arrangements. You can pick those up or you can have them delivered, so we're excited about that. Just something to promote people walking in the shop, promote fresh flowers that everybody gets to enjoy.
Teresa asks, where do you promote those? And the Magnolia Tree asks if you could explain exactly what Fresh Flowers.
So we just decided, actually, I pulled it on ChatGPT. I just typed in, help me promote fresh flowers. And it's just, we just kind of made it up. It is just fresh bouquets that we're offering on, I mean, we offer flowers every day. So don't think we don't do that. But we're offering a special each week. This is our second week, but this is our first week to really promote it the way we're doing. If you will go over to our Facebook or our Instagram, you will see on our stories how we have promoted the Fresh Flower Friday. But it's just a beautiful autumn bouquet in just mixed blooms, and we have, I think, 4 different ways that you can order it. You can order it just a bouquet in paper. You can order a bouquet in a vase. And then you could get a subscription or order a subscription where you get 4 bouquets for 4 weeks. And then you can order it that way. Sorry, guys. We got a call in the middle of our live. Okay, so there are our mums. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to add some aganis. So that's all the flowers we're putting in the bouquet. We're going to add a little more aganis. So this is the aganis I was telling you about. Now, it does have, if you look close, it does have a little bit of maroon coloring. Often, if it's a little later in the season, it will be real maroon. It'll have lots of color to those leaves. But I'm just going to take and I'm going to go all the way around in this. But if you are interested in doing that Fresh Flower Friday, don't hesitate to reach out. I will be happy to share what we have done and how we have promoted it.
Miss Barbara says, I have the same ringtone. I thought it was my phone.
Sorry about that.
Isabel says the cream roses are perfect to mix the white and the maroon color. Very beautiful.
And it has like a little touch of pink in its throat, but I think it's pretty. I think it works. Thank you.
A lot of folks are wondering what this is for.
This is for an event at our college tomorrow. We have to deliver it early in the morning, and we have 3 of these. They actually called yesterday and placed the order, so we were so thankful to get the order. But we have 3 of these to make.
Teresa on TikTok asks, is that similar to grevillea?
So grevillea is a lot more rigid. Grevillea tends to be more rigid, and it has kind of a serrated edge to those leaves. To me, grevillea is kind of like, It reminds me, I don't know what grevillea has on it, but it reminds me a lot of picking okra. If you've ever picked okra, it has some kind of little hairs or something on the leaves and the stems that make my hands itch, that kind of irritate my hands. This does not. It doesn't have that little itchy whatever's on grevillea. But the shape of the leaves is a little like grevillea, but grevillea is a little more rigid in its I don't know, in its form. And you can see this is pretty drippy.
No.
Are you gone? Are you going to take Todd? Is he in there with you?
Right here.
Oh, okay. He's right here with Victoria.
You ready to go?
Ready to go home, buddy?
Come on, let's go.
He's like, I guess so. He's coming down.
A few people are wondering, how much does this arrangement cost?
This one is $150.
Magnolia Tree asks if Fresh Flower Fridays is offered at like a discounted price, or is it just like, what is that?
Well, it is filled to value, so we fill it to value. The bouquets are filled to value. But if you decide to get it for 4 weeks, if you decide to get the subscription, like the 4-week order, you're going to get $5 off per bouquet, and it's filled to the $35 value, if that makes sense. So we're selling the flowers in paper for $35. And we're selling the bouquets in a vase to $55. And then if you buy the flowers in paper and you get 4 of those 4 weeks in a row, you're going to get it for $140, I believe. And if you get the flowers in a vase 4 weeks in a row, you'll get it at $200. All right, so there's our aganis tucked in.
Thank you everyone for your follows on TikTok.
Thanks, guys. So glad you're here.
Miss Barbara Neal asks, who starts dinner since Jason went home? Does he start? Just curious. How do the people do it?
No, Jason doesn't cook supper. I cook supper at our house. Now, Jason does the laundry. I will say that I am the lucky girl that has the husband that does all the laundry at our house. And he takes care of the dog. He feeds and bathes and all the things with Todd. And he helps with housework, but he does not cook.
Phoebe on YouTube says you make it look so easy.
Oh, Phoebe, lots of practice. Lots of practice. I've had, about 24, 25 years of practice, so it comes pretty easy after you've done it for that long. I could probably close my eyes and design it at this point. Okay, so the flowers we chose, and I said this earlier, but just in case you missed it, for our line flower, for all these little points you see, these are called, I was going to say bells of Ireland. They're not. They're snapdragons. Those are white snapdragons. Now, snapdragons come in lots of colors. They come in pinks. They come in a talisman that's kind of a pinky orange. They come in yellows and a deep, beautiful burgundy. When I say burgundy, though, it's more of a plum than it is a burgundy. But really pretty. Lots of colors on the snapdragons, but that's what we call a line flower because it's shaped like a line. It's just straight up and down. We used hydrangeas, and those are these really large blooms, the fluffy blooms. Those are white hydrangeas. Now, hydrangeas come in tons of colors too, but here at Flowers by the Bunch, we like to order them in white because I can tint them any color I need to with fresh flower paint. So I love to order a white hydrangea. I actually have those on standing. We get white hydrangeas every single week. The next flower we used were some white carnations. Now, carnations are really inexpensive flowers, but maybe the longest lasting flower that you can purchase. And they come in all the colors of the rainbow. So we use some white carnations tucked in. We got these creamy colored roses. I don't know the variety, or I would tell you, but these creamy colored roses, I use 6 stems of those in there. And then these are button mums. So this is a spray mum. It comes in lots of tiny little blooms on one stem. And I put 3 of those in there, and the only reason I used 3 is because that's all I had available to be able to put flowers in all 3 that were alike. And then the larger mums are called cremones, and those are in that beautiful burgundy color. Now, cremones come in lots of colors also. They come come in yellows and whites and this burgundy color, kind of a burnt orange. Lots of really pretty colors. The foliage that I used is Robellini, so that's this palm branch. That's kind of, it has narrow fronds, but just a pretty, almost feathery palm branch. We used Aganis and a little bit of leatherleaf or baker's fern, which is this little fern here. And that was just to fill it up. But just lots of pretty flowers and really, really pretty, full and showy.
Marilyn asks, how long do gladiolus last when cut? I have lots in my flower bed.
They will last a good while. Now, it's interesting, gladiolus tend to bloom very interesting. So they have that really long point, right? And if you'll pinch the tip out of that glad, it's going to signal to the flower to bloom all the way down the stem. So be sure when you cut that glad to pinch that tip, and it'll help those buds to open all the way up. Now, glads open from the bottom all up with their blooms, but they will last a good while if you will take those blooms and you will cut them every other day and put them in fresh water. That is going to help them stay fresher longer. So give them a really nice cut, change that water every other day, and they should last a good while for you. And don't cut them when they're in full bloom. Cut them when they have when they begin to show color. You want to see the color, but don't cut them when they have all those blooms wide open, because they're not going to last quite as long. If you will cut them when they're just begin to show color, then they will open up for you and last a little longer in a cut arrangement.
Teresa says, I cringe when people say I hate carnations. I love carnations.
Teresa, I love carnations too. But people really do have issues with carnations. And I'm like, girl, get the right carnation and I promise you will love it. But they last so long. I think I took home, you're going to laugh, but at our local grocery store, we have a Kroger here. They usually carry the Moon series, which is shades of purple, beautiful purples. And I took some home and they lasted for 6 weeks. I finally threw them away because I'd cut the stems so short with changing out the water, but they lasted for 6 weeks at my house. So they will last forever. I mean, 6 weeks on a flower is unheard of.
They're saying it's beautiful.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
I don't know if you want to answer. Teresa asks, with inflation, are you at 3.5 or 4 for overhead?
I do 3.5. I do 3.5 markup on fresh flowers.
I'm sorry.
There we go. Dark. Yeah, on fresh, I do 3.5. I have never done 4 on a markup. I guess I could, but I've never done that.
Oh, our camera may have died on YouTube. I'm sorry.
All right, we're
YouTube.
just about done, guys. No, it didn't. There we came back.
Oh, well, just kidding.
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
You're so silly.
Miss Marilyn says, thank you for the advice. I'd love to enjoy them longer. We have had frost threats. It gets cool in the evening here in Canada.
Yes, so go ahead and cut them. If you think that you're going to have a frost, cut them. Cut them all and enjoy those inside. Be sure to cut them before that frost comes, because once that freeze hits them, they're not going to last for you.
They're saying it's beautiful.
Guys, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for all of the follows over on TikTok. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up or that heart. That's just a simple and free way to support our little flower shop. If you have any questions about how we do things here at Flowers by the Bunch, you can always ask. Send me a message. I am so happy to answer your questions. If you're interested in knowing about how we're doing that Fresh Flower Friday, send me a message. I am happy to share with you what we are doing. Guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I will probably not go live tomorrow. We're going to head out to watch Micah Thomas play some soccer, so I probably will not do a live tomorrow, but I will be back. I will do our devotion, and I will be back on Monday with a live video.